Yeah, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks to Joe. I think I'm just going to quickly run through to most of my slides on the cyber standard and just go to touch on the policy rationale why we published. There's two of these joint standards. There's the cyber resilience and cyber risk standard. But also before that one, we published the IT risk. So IT risk management standard, both of those are interlinked. One of the big policy rationale and motivation for us, there's the interconnectedness of the world that we are in. In South Africa as well, there's a fast adoption of technology and a lot of dependence on online systems and processes. So there's a need for financial institutions to keep abreast. Also, your clients as well as your customers as well are embracing financial modernization as well as technology. And there's a lot of reliance on that. But with that innovation and reliance and all the opportunities that are presented by technology, the threat landscape also expands. So in South Africa as well and internationally as well, there's been more targeted cyber attacks in the financial sector. The criminals as well, they're becoming clever, they're refining their methodologies. They're trying by all means to compromise the systems, and sophistication and frequency is quite prevalent as well. And just trying to attack as well your critical infrastructure, especially the financial sector. I mean, there's money there, so criminals are trying to get into that. So in light of the threat landscape, it's incumbent upon the financial regulators to make sure that there is a renewed focus and emphasis on cybersecurity. If it's not managed properly, I think it can create a lot of risk and as well as a lot of impact, and it can actually lead to the breakdown of the financial system. So there's a heightened level of vigilance within the regulators and within the sector as well. A lot of international regulators as well, the World Economic Forum, they have mentioned it, IOSCO, IIS, they also mentioned FSB, and we as FSCA and the Prudential Authority, we belong as well to these international bodies, and so it's incumbent upon us to make sure that we've got standards that we put in place to deal with cyber risk and cyber threats. Some of the overarching themes, I'll just run through of them. There's a great emphasis on both the IT risk management standard and the cyber on governance and oversight. Whether it's your board, whether it's your senior management, they've got to take responsibility for cybersecurity as well as IT risk management. And just to say as well, there must be clearly defined roles and responsibilities within an institution or an entity. And just also to emphasize, just to make sure that you've got a robust framework in place and it's implemented and you're able to maintain it. The issue of independence of operations of cyber from other operations of the business, I think is important as well. And also just to make sure that your framework, your cybersecurity framework is approved by your governing body or your management, and it complies with your standard operating procedures as well. And it can also be part of your enterprise risk management framework. This one is also important on cybersecurity fundamentals and cybersecurity principles and hygiene practices. That's also important. The detection, the identification, the management of all these risks, as well as the authentication and people that have got access to your systems, as well as what we've included there, the importance of regulatory reporting as well. It comes up quite in the standard. I just want to mention these two things as well. At the definition section, I think it's quite important. So we've defined it very, very specifically who the standard, both the IT as well as the cyber, who it applies to. It's banks, insurers, your Cat 2 and Cat 3 as well, I included there. And I think in this one, we've also included, in a limited way, the Cat 1, if you are involved in fund administration and fund management services. So it's not applicable to the other 12,000 Cat 1 FSPs is just specifically to these pension funds as well are included. I think we've also included benefit administrators as well. So just look at that. And also what comes up in these standards is principles-based, it's outcomes-based, but also we've included proportional measures. So you've got to evaluate the standard against your the nature, size, complexity, and level of your risk appetite as well as a business. You will see there's another slide there. We've given you some of the things that have come up on consultation process. We published this, I think, twice. First round of consultation, second round of consultation, and I think people love cybersecurity and IT risk management. We probably, when we calculate all the comments that we've received, just about 1,300 comments on the various stages of this consultation process. And once we've sifted through all the comments and we've done the consultation report and we've complied with all the parliamentary processes, we hope that the standard will come into effect probably end of this year, but there is a transitional period that we provided. I think some of the commentators were asking 18 months, other commentators were asking 6 months, other commentators were asking for 12 months. So it will be 12 months from the effective date. So if it gets signed in November, then 12 months on that. Also in the consultation report, which you'll see in your slides as well, it's some of the things that are coming up. The cost of the standard is coming up, the implementation is coming up, transitional provisions are coming up as well in the standard. But also there's also enthusiasm from the industry where they say this is taking a best practice and standards across and is bringing into this. Just to mention as well, what we're trying to do is to do these, especially most of these standards where it's common themes, to try and do them as joint standards. In other words, it's us and the Prudential Authority. We issue the standard together. It reduces fragmentation, arbitrage, and forum shopping as well, but also it helps in other words so that we don't duplicate the costs as well. I know there's always an issue of reporting. It always comes up, who do you report to and so on. That we will be able as well to sort out, and probably we will consult as well just on the reporting so that we reduce the level of anxiety that do I have to report to two regulatory authorities. So I'm going to stop here. I'm not going to go to the majority of the slides because I'm standing between Michelle and you and the lunch. Thank you. We'll take questions later.